Passion our purpose, profit our pain.
I don't ever want my name to be in vain.
A life full of substance is the only thing that will remain the same.
Millennial thoughts.
Welcome back to another episode with your girl Alieshia. And
Sabriya, I'm here. I'm excited.
yes, we are so excited to have this conversation. So excited for you all to be a part of it. And yeah, this is our first episode of the season. We are going to do the Millennial Mogul because that's how we started off all the time. And then we are going to get into, the tea and stuff. So the Millennial Mogul for this episode is the one and only big boss, Keke Palmer, the Millennial Diva. She becomes the first woman to win an Emmy for the best game show host in 15 years. And so she's only 30 years old. There has been a lot about her in the media due to, negative baby daddy drama, stuff like that. But when I think about like who is killing the game and who is out here, who is our age, I always think about Keke Palmer. Like she sings, she acts, she has her own network. And so I just think she's a boss in the media game and someone that like is an inspiration, I would say, too, even though she has been doing it since she's like 8, like Akilah and the Bee type stuff. But I think that
Yes.
she is like really great in her foundation and what she does. And I like that she just kind of just goes for it and she just like puts herself out there. She's always like, I'm looking for a job, who got a job for me? And so yeah. Um she
And
is
she's a triple threat, right? She can sing, dance, and act. So
yeah, and talk show, and she had a couple talk shows, so I really think that like it's fitting for her to be the Millennial Mogul for this episode as we talk about, beauty standards and colorism and stuff like that. She is a dark-skinned woman who I don't know what effects that had on her life, but as we know in mainstream media growing up, there has been different things about colorism, dark skin, light skin, and stuff like that. And to see her being a trailblazer as like a dark skinned woman is actually also something that I think is really important. And I think representation matters. So I feel like she representing out here for the girls.
yes, I love it. I love it. And you know what? Just a little hint. We already done hinted our episode for today. We're going to be talking about colorism and beauty standards. But before that, our new segment, which I love, Girl, What's Up, allows me to take a peek into the therapy toolkit and ask a question to self-explore our lives a little bit. So, Alieshia, would you like to jump into our random topic question to explore our life and human experience to share a little bit here?
Yes, I'm nervous, but we go.
I know it's like always nerve-wracking because we have no idea what it's going to be about. Ooh, this is a big one. This one, let me show you the picture. This one's a big one. This one relates to, ironically, the topic that we're going to be talking about today, because maybe there's some elements that come from it. It's the word trauma.
Oh.
So, when it comes to the word trauma, girl, what's up when you think about that word?
So I might be the wrong person to ask about trauma. Like I hear it, and it's just like, okay, like kind of what is this? So I kind of know about like childhood trauma. So that is kind of what I relate to trauma when I hear about it. But I think everything can be traumatic. In a sense, there is a lot of trauma. So I guess when I don't really, I guess, like keep it in with that, but I don't really like hold trauma in is what I should say. I don't hold trauma
That's a
in.
good thing.
Yeah, when I think about it, but I do remember different things that could be traumatic. And so I'm trying to think if I could relate it to something. Well, even with colorism and beauty standards and stuff like that, um, within childhood trauma, I would say that sometimes like growing up, being darker skin, you get teased. So I would say that that could be no, that is traumatic is what I would.
Yes.
And so over the years I kind of like, I love my skin, whatever. And I'm African American, I'm like I'm dark skinned, stuff like that. But growing up, I would say that that was definitely like something that you had to get used to, like being the darkest one. And then like, getting teased like, oh, you're so dark, you're so dark. It's like, well, no, I'm not black, I'm brown in a sense. So I would say that would be something that was traumatic and also kind of like a reason why I do what I do today. And that's even why I say that's even what even got me into media, honestly, is because like the songs, like all that stuff, like they want a red bone, da, 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 like that, like music and culture wasn't
Mhm.
really showing in highlighting dark skinned women. They would just be like calling them ugly, saying they so dark, this, whatever, whatever, whatever. But on opposite ends, it was really ironic that people love dark skinned men, but dark skinned women was just like, no. So I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, so I think that is what I would think about now, knowing what trauma is. I didn't know that that was that when I was younger, but looking back, I'm like, oh, that could be some trauma. And it's like thinking about like, oh, how I wish my skin was lighter and stuff like that. Like my mom is really, really light skin. Like she's like so light, but my dad is darker skin, you know. But my dad is from the South, you know, they could be dark or whatever. So like thinking about when I was young, I was like, oh, maybe I'd be prettier if I was lighter. Maybe I'd be
Yeah.
lighter. Like that's a whole thing. I definitely don't think that now, but I'm like, that is a comparison. And when I think about like, oh, what if I was lighter? What if I not necessarily white, but just like lighter skin, you know?
Yeah,
Lighter.
you are bringing up so many thoughts, Alieshia, and I have so much I can't wait to talk about to you. When it comes to trauma, I want to provide a little education opportunity here too. There, you said that you don't know how you orient to trauma, and I think that what you shared were good opportunities to get examples of little t trauma. So there's two types of trauma. So trauma is categorized in many ways on the therapeutic sense, right? But we have the big trauma, big T trauma, which is like big things that happen that may include huge elements of grief, so loss, witnessing violence, death, or it could be prolonged violence, such as domestic abuse, trigger warning. Those are things that are like the big T traumas, whereas the little traumas can be these little things that cause psychological distress that add up, that can lead to a negative self-concept or just very negative dark thoughts about ourselves. And then there's the element of trauma can be categorized into another common category, which is the acute trauma, which is more of like a single incident, whereas it's chronic trauma. So that means there's that repeated trauma, right? It's where it's the situation where you're constantly being reminded of being a dark-skinned woman, or you're constantly, it's those little like nicks and those little pricks. And then there's that complex trauma where it's like a mix of major traumatic events. So maybe you had an incident where someone said something really horrific and embarrassing in front of people, and then you have the little things that happen. So I think people don't realize the impact of the little pricks of trauma that can happen for us, the little negative things that can add up and lead to a very deep, dark version of ourselves. I mean, I'm thinking about when you talked about, your parent being light skinned and you having a darker skinned father. My mom actually is fair skinned and my dad is darker. And I ended up being the darkest child of the three, and, I remember, just simply even growing up. And when you go out in the sun, as a kid, you don't think about getting dark. But I remember slathering on as the highest level of SPF sunblock I could find because I didn't want to get too dark because, and especially in this country, sometimes I think in the Black family upbringing, there's that internalized racism, and then them bringing up the fact that, oh, you've gotten darker. Oh, girl, you better stay out the sun. I mean, I just remember just how detrimental that was to my sense of beauty and what that meant. So, I mean, I think this is such a great topic that we can, this card was a great way to kind of prompt us into our topic of the day, which is about beauty standards and mental health and colorism. So, I think we should jump right on into it.
Yeah, well, to start it off, I would say to your point too, when I was younger, it's like, oh yeah, you don't want to be outside too long. But I honestly like used to think, I still think it actually, that the sun follows me. And it's like, well, younger's like, no, I don't want to be in the sun. I don't want to be in the sun because you don't want to get dark or something like that. But now I'm like, well, no, it's my melanin. Like this is beautiful. And so like this is how I should, I should be proud of my skin. I should love it, like I don't get this because of that or whatever. Like just being like, I love my skin, being around other Black people and stuff like that. And also I would say beauty standards and mental health kind of go inside with colorism. Growing up, I was around a lot of white people, and so I was always the Black person, like whenever I did like sports and stuff like that. So I would say that I kind of knew then, like, oh yeah, I'm not white, I'm Black. So that's kind of how I knew about it. Now when it comes to colorism, I think that it's a bigger issue in the African American community, because when we even hear about like slavery and stuff like that, it's like, oh, the dark skin was outside, the light skins was inside. Like you hear stuff like that. Then you hear in music, like, oh, I want a red bone, long hair, whatever. Or like, oh, she light skin, like, okay. And it's
Let
like,
alone the music videos when we were
yeah,
growing up.
in
Think
the
about
music
how
videos,
big music video culture was growing up, and
there was
nobody looked like
barely
us.
any dark skinned
The
women on.
girl of interest was never a brown skin, really, or a dark skinned woman.
at all. And so then seeing that and visualizing that, even I go back to like watching the story, like the black girl in the video, it was like, oh, which doll do you want? I want the white doll, like I don't want the black doll, like doing
Yes.
stuff like that. And like that, and like that goes into your mind and you interpret that. And so it's just like, no, it's like light is better, light is better. So like I feel like that affects your mental health. You like growing up, you don't know that that's your mental health, but I'm like, colorism in society definitely affects how beautiful you think you are, and it affects on how beautiful you think you are, affects on your self-confidence and your self-worth. And so that's something why I was like, I'm taking back my power in something like that, because I'm like, I'm not gonna let these people say like I'm ugly because I'm a dark-skinned woman, or like dark skin is not in. But now as you see that the culture is changing, people are going to Africa now. That's why I said in Africa, you wouldn't even know, like Ghana, like it's like they're black, they're beautiful, Caribbean culture, stuff like that. But now everybody want to be dark skinned. It's like what Tupac say, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. So now it's like, okay, now people are like, oh, I want dark skin, I want dark skin, whatever. But I'm like, Mighty has it changed, but that also goes into society, like beauty standards changing within society, but it's within the people. So it's like, who is creating these beauty standards? At the end of the day, black was never in the beauty standard. So therefore,
Yeah.
it's never going to show. So that's why I think it's so important that we speak on colorism, that we talk about colorism, because even I don't even know, just like different things I see, it's like, oh, why did she get this because she light skin, or why did she get this because she dark skin, or like um knowing that the way that you are seen is because of the color of your skin. And sometimes it's like you don't even know what to do. That's why the bleaching culture, the beauty industry, like it's so much, because it's like they're showing you, they're painting you this picture of what you should look like. And it's like, no. And that
Yeah,
stuff can affect you, and
absolutely.
you don't know how to process it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about I want to kind of go back to the sun conversation. It's ironic that, this idea that we wanted to stay out the sun, right? Due to the fear of getting darker, because one of the most common um deficiencies that Black people have is vitamin D, aka a lack of going into the sun, right? And so I think that that is so sad how not only we are psychologically affected to be afraid of getting darker, it also affects our actual physical health. I found out I had a vitamin D deficiency, and I live in the Sunshine State, y'all. I live in like Florida, but yet I still had a vitamin D deficiency. And so realizing how important it is to get out in the sun, and how sad it is that that's a great place to get that natural vitamin D, that we kind of keep ourselves from
In
that
the
due to
house.
yeah, due to fear of getting dark, right? And then you brought up this idea of, I love how you brought up this idea of how colorism extends outside of just our own self-perception. It's also our experience in the world. So there's actual research that came out a while back. I'm not really sure when it came out, but I remember during, because I've actually done some research papers on this in my master's program, and I remember there was an element of people who are darker actually oftentimes are seen as a threat in American society. So they're more likely to get longer prison sentences or less leniency than those who are fairer skinned. And then on top of that, it also impacts the workplace. Lighter skinned individuals are oftentimes given more opportunity and consideration sometimes in the workplace, because maybe they're passing, maybe they're more digestible to the company culture. And that affects, not only it affects your bag, so not only your mental health, but now your bag is affected. And one thing I want to add is
On
too,
the
I
bag.
yeah, the bag is affected, right? And then on top of that too, I remember one time traveling to India many years ago. I went while I was in college, and I remember there were, conversations came up about how certain people are not offered certain jobs if they're darker Indians. Like the darker skinned Indians cannot work certain jobs, like front facing jobs with certain people. Like that, there's hiring discrimination that's very blatant. And I remember even the commercials were all fair skinned models. And it was like the Indians I had seen on TV, the ones that I would think of are like I mean, you're in the sun. India is like a very, especially southern India. So it's really saddening and disheartening to see just colorism is not only in the US, but it just expands beyond these borders.
But yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Colorism being dark, that's like a dang crime and all over. And it's so crazy because that's why like people like go to DR. I don't really care to go to DR. Y'all treat people dirty in the DR. Y'all treat darker skinned people dirty in DR.
Oh,
Darker people
yeah.
are everywhere. And I have heard of Indians, so I'll be like, the men Indians quit looking at me because you can't take me home. Just playing. But yeah, even in India and stuff like that, it's like they look at dark skin like it's something. It's like we were literally born like we did nothing to do that. And so that's why I think colorism on is a whole issue in general. And oh, Brazil. That's like if you're darker skin, no. But
Wow.
back to the career thing, not in my job now, I should say, but like I felt that way. Like I could tell my boss, and having a woman boss versus a male boss is definitely different, but I could
Mhm.
see that way. Like I could tell if a man is attracted to you or if a man likes you, they're going to be nicer to you, talk to you, do whatever, something like that.
Oh, that's a real thing.
Having a male boss is very interesting to me, and I've seen it in previous roles. But I was like not light skinned. So it's like I could see who you're talking to, I could see who you communicate with. And to me, I can say, like, I think that's colorism to me. You treat the lighter skins nicer, or you talk to the lighter skins, you don't talk to the dark skins as much. That could be true. And also, but I take it back in a sense too, because it's like whatever is I forgot what the word is called, but it's like, oh, preconceived notions, something like that. Like you might not know that you're doing it. You might not,
Bias.
yeah, but you're biased. Like you like light-skinned women, so you're gonna talk to light-skinned women. You might not think dark-skinned women are attractive, no matter whatever happens. You might not be doing it on purpose, but I can see the bias and I can see it, and I definitely can feel it. Did I ever say anything? No, but I definitely noted it, and I realized, and I feel like that could have led to a reason of why I didn't get where I wanted to get. Not all the way, but in a sense, like I think even black men bossing or whatever, I think that they should like check their bias on what they do. I mean, yeah, you're attracted to women, stuff like that, but that can really like be detrimental to my mental health. And
Yes.
like it wasn't, but it was. Like it could be detrimental to my mental health, and it could be detrimental to how women are perceived in the workplace and different things like that. If you don't talk to me because they're dark skinned, or if you don't treat them the same way because they're darker skin, or you're attracted to someone because they're light skinned, like that really affects people in the workplace. And that's not talked about because it's always like white, black, white, black. But even when you have a whole black staff,
Yeah, that's a
knowing
whole
your
thing.
biases and how you treat people affects people.
Mhm. I kind of want to this kind of previews a future episode that we're going to have, but it's this idea that, people having a preference of a lighter skinned person over a darker skinned person. I mean, I've really been into the media on dating. As I mentioned in our intro, I really love to talk about dating and why people do what they do and the behaviors behind it. There's this thing, right, where darker skinned women are finding that white males or the people outside of the black race are more willing to give them opportunity and especially with the natural hair component. That's a whole other conversation, right? But hair even ties into that, right? With dark skin versus natural versus relaxed hair. What are your thoughts on people making a choice to say, I actually just find this skin color attractive, especially thinking about black men? I mean, that when I was growing up, I remember a phrase that I never forgot as a black man I was dating once told me, "You're really pretty for a brown skin girl." And that stuck with me for so long. I mean, it's still to this day. It's been 10 plus years
Mhm.
that has stuck to me. And it gave me such a insecurity about myself. I never even thought about being brown skinned that much. And then I remember, the Gabrielle Unions and the Vivica Foxes on TV were my only kind of real relating connection. I mean, there was Holly Berry back then, and there were Vanessa Williams and all them. And I thought, while they were beautiful, wonderful black women that were representative, it was just at that point I started to find myself wanting to connect to black women who looked like me, so I could know that my beauty still mattered and what I brought to the table still mattered. So, I'm just thinking about that concept there.
So I never heard that I was pretty for a black girl or like a brown skinned girl, but that's also why I like Oprah. Like, I mean, she's not dark, dark, but she's like darker. So it's like I kind of keen to her in a sense with that representation. But that's kind of why I also started my own platform. So younger girls like me can see that because you don't see it as much. You see Barbies, you see Bratz dolls, okay, but like you don't see it as much. But to your point about the preference, my only
Yeah.
thing is that dudes be like, oh, I like her natural, I like her natural, but do you really like her natural with her 4C hair and it's kinky, or do you like her natural when it's straight?
Mm.
So it's like I could have curly hair, but I could also have an afro. But then it's my thing is like, let women be women. If you don't want the natural hair girl, don't talk about the natural hair girl. So who do you really want? If you don't want the girl to wear weave and stuff like that, well, don't get mad when she over here got twists in her head. So it's just like, yeah, that could be your preference, but do you even know what it takes to even do all this hair that you don't even have? So it's like, you can have a preference. Okay, I want a light skinned girl, whatever, whatever. That's cool. Just go after your preference. You don't have to say everything. Like that's who you are, that's what you do. But to be like, "Oh, I want my girl with this and with that." Okay, but your girl is not with this and with that. So, I just think it's like go after who you're attracted to. She could have natural hair. It could be kinky, it could be curly, or even if she wears weave and she has long straight hair or whatever. If you're not attracted to that, you don't have to announce it on social media, like you have to announce everything. Like you don't have to announce it, you don't have to say anything. Just keep scrolling or don't
Yeah.
even comment on it. Everybody has their preference. Like I can say, oh, I like dark skinned men with dread heads. I could say that. Do I say that? No. If I see a light skinned guy, am I like, oh no, I can't like you because you're not dark skinned? No. If he's cute, he's cute. If he's not, okay, I'm gonna go on to the next thing.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a big issue. I think that people feel like they have to put down people in order to uplift what they like or to justify. And I love that you say that. It doesn't you demeaning somebody else or another culture or another, skin color, whatever, to feel good about what you do like, to me, that shows a deeper insecurity in you. I mean, there's a whole kind of culture, in my opinion, of self-hate that comes into our community, right? We've been taught for so long that what we have is not beautiful, what we are is not beautiful. I mean, ironically, let's, bringing in the Cat Williams discussion, that was Cat Williams knocked off 2024 with a whole bang, right, in his interview. But he talked about how, society, typically is not accepting of the Jonathan Majors. Now, he's a whole controversial person. And so I'm talking about just in the skin tone right now, not his actions right now. We're not going to speak on that. That's not a part of this episode. But just in the fact that, society deciding that he's attractive and not. I know it's different for a man, right?
I
And
was
then
cracking up. They was like, when did you ever start loving us? I was like,
because society didn't, it's interesting because I think the dark man phenomenon has become more of like a desirable thing that I've seen talked about from women, right? Because light skinned men were a thing, the light skinned pretty boy kind of look. And I think that it evolves, but you're right. I kind of feel that it doesn't really evolve for women very much. I feel like there's just, even when you look at celebrities, it's one thing. I actually did this thing for myself one time, just out of curiosity. I was like, what celebrities are married to just brown or darker skinned women, like at all, like black celebrities, like, you know what I mean? I really wanted to know. And it's not to judge, you love who you love, right? We talked about how you're attracted to who you're attracted to, but I just found it so ironic that a lot of, celebrities, especially black males, do not choose brown or darker skinned women as their wives, and it's hard to watch it. I mean, and it's not that I have a thing against it, but it's just hard where do we fit into all of that, right? Where does a brown skin or a dark skin girl fit into that equation,
did you see what Cat Williams said and why they don't have them? I don't know if it's
Oh,
true.
that's a whole thing. I don't even know the whole, like the
Okay,
whole
yeah.
that
But
part. He was talking about Illuminati and all that. I
okay,
don't know
well,
about.
yeah, he was like, they don't have it on there now. They do say that more black people are married to black women, stuff like that too. But that goes back to whatever you see in society. I don't know if they don't have I don't know if they don't know the women, if they don't have the women. I don't know what caliber they're in, but that also goes to something too. But then on the flip side, they get mad when dark skinned women go at white men. Well, if a man is treating me nice
That
and
is a
he's
cultural
stuff
issue.
and he's doing that,
Yeah,
why would I go here and over here be over here? I don't want to really want to say slaving, but like be over here stressing, struggling with a Rob or something like that. And Bob Billy over here got me chilling. So
yeah,
it's like you do want to love a black man, you do want to be with a black man, but it's like, when are they protecting you?
yeah.
When are they coming up for you? They always got all this negative stuff to say about black women. That's a whole nother conversation. So it's kind of like that's why I'm like, just be quiet sometimes. Like, just like don't say everything. Like,
Yeah. You don't
hey,
have to say everything you think it just because you think it, right? I mean, and I
did
want
your
to bring
mama
up,
teach you if you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say it?
don't say it at
You
all.
need to learn that in social media.
Literally. And, my husband, he's a brown skinned man. And this is the conversation that we've talked about, even when it comes to future offspring. We've talked about the fact that, how will our children walk and show up in the world? How will my daughter feel knowing that she's probably going to come out brown skin, in that range somewhere hair, not on the lighter skin side, how will she navigate the world? How can we instill confidence in her? Or if we were to have a son, how can we teach him, to not be to honor his preferences, but at the same time, not make decisions of beauty simply just on a skin tone, because we know that beauty it transcends skin tone all the way. There are beautiful people across all races and all skin tones. And so that is a concern that we worry about. If our son is browner or darker, how will the police treat him if he's pulled over for a simple ticket? I mean, these are things that can keep you up at night before you even had a child. So I can just imagine what parents struggle with on a day to day, just thinking about raising their child in that scope.
And my last thing to say about that is because they be like, oh yeah, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Beauty is the eye of the beholder. Yeah, but who is the beholder?
Mm.
Who is the person that's telling you this? Who are you learning this from? What are you watching? What are you seeing? Who is telling you that this isn't beautiful? That's not beautiful. That this isn't beautiful. And back to your point, that's why I really think traveling is so important. Is you see a lot of people, you see a lot of different things. When you're only in your Mississippi or something like that, when you're only in your city or something like that, that's only how your mind is going to be. Once you expand, and I think that's actually what's missing from Black men, I should say. They go traveling to do something else. I don't know what they go do, but like Black women are the ones out here traveling more. Black women are the ones that seen this. So yeah, we're going to have more access to this, more access to that. Black men, some of them do be traveling, but like the expansion of their mind and what they see, talking to dudes, they're like, oh yeah, this is on social media. Get off of social media, go travel, go see something, go talk to other people than just your boys. Like you're getting that in you all the time because you're talking to the same people, you're seeing the same things. I'm like, quit sending me stuff. Like I need to protect my peace. Like go to another country, go to another state, go see something. When you go and see other people, you're like, oh, this is beautiful, that's beautiful. And then you can have some, I guess, representation or like some sacred space for who you're dealing with them Black women. Some Black men, they don't even see they Black mama with the man. One, some see maybe she's lighter skin, maybe she's dark skin, so they see their mom. They see their mom do everything. They see what their mom look like, and maybe they want that. But it's like, who are you? And also to your point, there's this creator on TikTok. I should say her name if I remember, but she was talking about being dark skinned, and she was talking about how within her beauty, she never felt attractive. So she was darker skinned, as I said. So she had short hair, she cut her hair and everything like that. And so that's another thing too that goes into your I would say that can affect your mental health is when you know from a young age you're not cute to the boys are attractive, you do whatever you want to do. But it's so sad that like men can have that effect on you, um, and you don't feel like you're beautiful because you're darker skin, which what you said earlier, it goes into self-hate. So are these men hating themselves? And then that's a reflection of how they talk and treat people.
Like what comes first, right? The chicken or the egg? Like we don't even know. I wonder if I could play the sound bite. I want to play like a little bit of the sound bite if that's okay. I'm gonna see if I can share sound here and just if that's okay to just maybe share a little bit of what she said on that, because I think that she brought up a great point. So let's just maybe I want to end this episode just kind of with that perspective. Her name is Girls Will Be Boys, the TikTok at Girls Will Be Boys I'm seeing. And so I want to play just a little bit of it just for y'all to hear.
I'm a lot older now, and I will say, in some weird way, not being desirable freed me up from early. I watched so many of my friends who either were the beauty standard or who were on the border of that desirability then do everything for man. Every display, every fashion choice, every rave they went to, even the music they liked, came down to aligning themselves for the male gaze. I knew from early on that I quote unquote wasn't worthy of the male gaze. So that made me go in a completely different direction. That made me shave my head at like 16, 17.
I was going to say, did it make you like, did you feel like...
Oh, you don't like me anyway? Right, the party's on.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for sharing that. Her name is actually Candace Brathwaite. That was just
she was featured on the episode. Yeah.
So she clearly sounds like, I think she lives in Britain, like she has an accent. And so you can follow her on TikTok or anything like that. But I thought like that was actually something that definitely goes into colorism. Like I said, she is darker skin. If you're on YouTube, you can see me post.
Yeah. And I really just appreciated that perspective because I remember that transition where, the fight to be attractive to like back then, your ruler for attraction was what the boys were saying in school, right? I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Girls go through this phase, not all women, but I would say a good chunk of women go through that phase where they're trying to do what it takes to capture the male gaze because our worth and our beauty is tied into what the boys are saying at school. The popular girls, they look like this, they have hair like this.
Mhm.
And I just think it's so important to almost reclaim what really truly, I mean, it's kind of starting to take us to the therapist corner, the therapy corner, right? So let me take y'all to the therapy corner. The therapy corner, as y'all know, on every episode is an opportunity for you to get some tangible tools to walk away with. These are some wellness hacks to help you live better. And coming from the therapy corner, from a mental health professional, I want to share that it's so important to redefine what beauty means to you. It's so important to pour into yourself. And I love how Alieshia mentioned earlier to expose yourself to other versions of beauty. American culture can really do a great job of siloing you and making you feel kind of in a box of what beauty means. But I think it's important for you to redefine what that means for you. I love going outside now. If I get a little tan, I love my tan because now I'm a new woman this week because now I get to be a browner version of Sabriya. And it looks beautiful with my new makeup look that I'm going to go with and my hairstyle with it. And so just learning to love the parts of you, each part. And it takes time and finding others around you who can appreciate those parts of you. There are men or women or whatever you date out there. There are people out there that will love you for who you are. And so try really hard to be very transparent with yourself and who you are with people so that people can show themselves real quick with you and you won't waste time with people who cannot love and respect you for who you are and what you look like. That's
Yes,
my advice from the therapy corner.
I agree. And I'll add a couple of things and then we can wrap up. But to what you were saying, in that like childhood, in middle school and high school, whatever, there's a two part to that because yeah, you were like trying to get the male gaze and stuff like that. But to her point, it's like if you weren't attractive, you didn't even care or whatever. Like you already knew that, and that could affect you, and that could be affecting you right now as well, depending on how you go. But also, I want to tie into that. Not all Black people are Christian. I understand that. But if you think about um being in church, if you think about being raised in the church and stuff like that, you wouldn't know that it's like, oh, don't worry about little boys, don't worry about little boys, you're kind of like outsider, like you're an outsider. It'd be like, focus on your education, focus on your education. And so it's like you don't care about what the boys think of you and stuff like that. So that also can add an isolating part to you and stuff like that. You're like, okay, well, I'm not attracted. I'm gonna be all in my books or something like that. But then that also goes into how you do your day to day and how you keep it moving. And to your earlier point of when we talked about bringing in the girl talk, it was the trauma. So I would say that just in general, if you are feeling like are learning about childhood trauma, and if you are thinking about that traumatic experience where we are talking about colorism, we are talking about being darker skin, even if you're lighter skin, because I know I can only speak on being darker skin. I know you probably have some trauma with being lighter skin too as well. People say crazy things no matter what. Just thinking about it, like thinking about maybe writing a letter to yourself, thinking about just like writing your thoughts out, writing your feelings out, and just holding that in, as well as I would say doing affirmations. Like I know that I used to do affirmations sometimes. It's like, I love my skin, like I'm dark, like I'm Black and I'm beautiful, or something like that. Like I love the skin I'm in, and shout out, play Brown Skin Girl by Beyonce. Okay.
Brown skin
Like,
girl, your
get your
skin
Kelly
just like
Rowland on,
pearls.
because Kelly Rowland be eating the girls up on social media.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Kelly
So
Rowland. Yes. Oh, I forgot about her.
yeah, Jennifer
She's
Hudson, like they be eating the girls up. Fantasia, like if you didn't go see
yes.
go watch The Color Purple, I think it was really great. So yeah, like doing stuff like that, I think is really, really good. And also, don't hate yourself, but don't spew out hate, don't spew out self-hate. If the dude ain't checking for you because of your skin complexion, our girl, chuck the deuces up. We ain't got time for him. Okay. And that's all I'm saying. And definitely as we wrap this up, I do want to let y'all know that our next episode is going to be a part 2 to beauty standards and mental health, but we're going to be talking about body and self-esteem. So if you enjoyed this, make sure you let us know on our YouTube comments, on Instagram comments, and everything like that. And we will be having a part 2 of body and self-esteem. So make sure y'all tune into that. And thank y'all so much for listening. It kind of got deep. I feel like the conversations can literally go on so much, like so long. And also, here's a slight plug. In 2020, I felt like dark skinned women, kind of got the end of the totem pole. So I did a series called Tales from a Dark Skin Perspective. I interviewed over 20 women talking about how they grew up, talking about how colorism had an effect on them, is what I want to say earlier. So got told they were pretty for a dark skin. They got told if they was ugly, or they got told maybe don't go outside, or some of them was taught really well, like, no, your skin is beautiful. So I did a series on that. It is about an hour, and I also interviewed some more people, some more women, in 2022, I believe. So if you want to go to my YouTube channel, it's called Talks with Alieshia, and the playlist is, I believe, Tales from a Dark Skin Perspective. And you all should just go check that out. And I might put it in the show notes so y'all can go see it. But just go check it out. Just listen to it, because I think that it like just shows more of my passion and what I talk about. But it's Tales of a Dark Skinned Woman. It's 6 episodes. And I'm thinking about bringing that back in a different way this year. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you all as we talked about it. If you want to go listen, check it out. If you don't, it's okay.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Alicia. That sounds so powerful and impactful. The most powerful thing and most beautiful thing you can do is to listen to and honor someone else's story. And I hope that you can honor yours today. So share in the comments. What are your experiences with colorism? Share, let us know what are your thoughts? What have you gone through? We're excited to hear from you, and we're excited to honor and hear your story. I look forward to seeing you next time.
Yes, talk to y'all later. Have a great day, morning, night, whenever you listen to this. Catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.